Perfect. All right, welcome to the PARTcast. I am Justin Chin. I'm a first year studying IBE and work here with Isha Patel. She's a third year and she's our president. Fourth year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, fourth year.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. She's our president at PART, and go ahead and tell us about yourself, Isha.
Yeah, so I'm currently in my senior year of aeroastroengineering with a concentration in structures and materials. I also have a material science minor. So that's the Purdue intro, but on PART, I have been here for 4 years. I started off as an airframe member, and then my sophomore year, I was airframe lead along with John Rolfe, and then I've been president for the last 2 years.
Perfect. Awesome. I mean, how is the president role treating you so far?
It's my second year doing it,
Right.
And I really thought I had it down. Last year was a lot of what am I doing? What on a technical role, you can do the math, you can do the engineering. A lot of that not necessarily is intuitive to me, but is very much learnable. The sort of politics of, okay, this is who I need to contact in BOSO, our business office, our SAO, the student organization office. There's just a lot more people that you have to interface with, and also I was very much a competition baby. I came up in competition airframe, was competition airframe lead, and then last year I was kind of put halfway into a project on R&D because R&D was halfway through their Dodo project. And so going from just a competition mindset to, okay, I am now part as a whole, including competition, R&D, and BMD, was an interesting shift. And I really thought I had it down this year, but PART never fails to keep surprising you, and so there have been a lot of changes happening this year, and with that, a lot of it has been, new and interesting challenges.
Definitely. Sounds like you're handling that really well.
I'm definitely handling it about as well as I can, but, it
sounds really fun.
Yeah.
So, Isha, what does your day-to-day routine sort of look like right now as president?
When I said I was going to be on this podcast, I was like, I know someone's going to ask me what my day-to-day is. And truth be told, I spent all morning trying to think of it. And truly my day-to-day is never really day-to-day. It's someone once told me that the president's job is very reactive. Something happens and then the president has to go do a bunch of things, slow down information, but there's never just okay, you sit down, I need a plan for a meeting, I need to do X, Y, Z. The most routine part of my day-to-day is I go to all of the leadership meetings for competition and R&D just to make sure I stay in touch with all of our technical side, because as well as being, that administrative overhead, I also serve as yet another one of the technical advisors for both of these teams, in addition to all the technical advisors we already have, as well as the really intelligent sub-team leads that we have. And so my day-to-day is, if we have an issue, that's where I come into play. Towards manufacturing, it's, do we have big technical issues that they just need another new brain on that hasn't been looking at the same problem for a month? That's when I get called in. Do we need money? Where are we getting that money from? Then me and the treasurer get called in. Most recently, we've had a lot of issues with the competition. So how are we approaching that? What are our steps? And then who do we need to tell that now that PART has officially switched its goal competition for the end of the school year?
Right.
Who do we need to tell? Who do we need to make sure our advisor knows? We need to make sure our team leads know and all of the members know, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So the day-to-day is never the same.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I've seen you lead, teach, and observe as a president. And in your experience, what is your favorite aspect about PART so far?
My favorite part has always been the community. The community that gets built when it's 2 a.m., the plane still isn't built. It was supposed to be built 3 days ago. Like, you have the people who have just been there for hours. You start to make friends. Like, truly, some of the best friends I have made have been on this team. I obviously have my friend group that is just entirely separate because sometimes you just need a break because you've been in the lab since 2 a.m. and then you're back at 7 a.m. I will say 2 a.m. turns out to be more like 5 a.m. when you hit the worst of manufacturing. But it's the friends that you're in Research Park with until really late, really early, just trying to get things done. But you're also having a great time. You're blasting music. You're making jokes. And then those are also the friends you can rely on because a lot of us are aerospace engineers or mechanical engineers, and you tend to find your groups and your niches, and you tend to find friends that can help you outside of PART through kind of just Purdue in general.
Right. Awesome. You've worked with Boeing, Collins, and then you've taught STEM topics at the museum, correct?
Yeah.
How does this real-world experience translate into your performance in PART?
So I will say, I think coming in as a freshman, obviously anyone who's been through freshman year knows you think you know a lot and then you learn you know so little. Freshman year kind of just really puts you through the ringer of like, you used to be one of the best in your high school, or you're really smart, and we all are still really smart. It's just you are now in a different pool with so many other people. And so I think my job at the museum really helped me to, one, have the confidence so I can give any presentation, and also we used to teach things like how planes fly. So the basics of how a plane flies really came from there, of just like, this is my fundamentals and I'm going to rest on this until I actually know more and I know better. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, the real world of like Boeing and Collins really just shows you how different teams operate, how each team has their own different styles, and you sort of pick up different things and you learn from them. And everyone on leadership, when they go off to an internship, they bring something back to those leadership meetings and their own sub-team meetings that kind of is just like, hey, here's something that my team was doing over the summer, whether it be project management, whether it be how they run weekly tag-ups, even just words and phrases that kind of just convey everything we need to know better, quicker, faster. So PART definitely has started to get into the point where a lot of companies have of like, we just have acronyms, and acronyms is just what we run with. And so it's very intimidating coming into it. But when you're already there, that real world experience of just like, this is how a company does it. How can we scale that to something that PART does has been super helpful.
Right. 100%. I've heard the thing where, you don't know something until you can teach it to a little kid, which is something you definitely did at that museum. Yeah.
Trying to explain Bernoulli's principle and aerodynamics to a 5-year-old and trying to keep them entertained was probably the hardest challenge I've ever had to face.
Yeah,
not even gonna lie. Just because there's just so much, it takes a lot of energy too, which is kind of, customer service voice is very real. And I very much, I had a lot of customer service voice, and, I've gotten to drop that a little bit with, everyone's a college student. We're all real people that we can understand everyone is just a person. But, having that enthusiasm for just what you're teaching and what you're doing has really just helped me as well, because I've always loved what I do.
That's the base, is loving what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So 120 people are counting on you in PART. What techniques do you use to handle that pressure? I mean, for me, I'm a first-year student. I'm trying to take on these leadership roles. So for other, sophomores, freshmen who are taking on these big leadership roles, how can you handle that pressure?
I mean, it weighs on me some days where I'm like, yeah, there's an entire organization. But honestly, what it really is my 18 people on my leadership team are counting on me. And then they have individually 15 to 20 people counting on them, which is why the hierarchy is so nice, is because the weight of PART doesn't rest on just one set of shoulders. It looks like it should rest on the president, but truly I could not do anything that I do without my leadership team. And so kind of acknowledging that, yes, I am kind of the figurehead, But realistically, no, you don't see me as much because I'm out doing other things. I'm off talking to departments and like different professors, but your team leads are the ones that are really carrying the responsibility. But I definitely think stay humble is kind of my biggest advice. We're still in college. I'm not the president of like a like giant company. The worst we do is we don't go to competition. We crash a plane. It sucks. It's hard. You're going to have to make those hard calls. You're going to have to make those hard announcements. But at the end of the day, life moves on. This is not a multi-million-dollar thing.
100%. And so with that competition coming up, how do we feel? Do we feel prepared?
I mean, competition is not until next June. So
next June. I got you.
Yeah. So we're just at the beginning of it, and I'm really excited to see what the teams produce. We just got rules as of sort of Monday, Wednesday sort of time frame. So the competition team is really just kicking off. I'm really excited to see what R&D is doing because we've put them on a 1-year time schedule. So what can they do in a 1 year? Because they've previously done projects on the scale of 1.5 to 2 years. So what can they do in a year? And I'm really excited to see what that modular plane looks like. And comp, I'm just excited to see what they innovate, especially with the new bounds of a new competition. It's a new design challenge that we haven't had the opportunity for in the last 26, 28 years that PART has been around.
Wow.
And we've been going to SUAS.
28 years.
I believe we're actually at 29 this year.
Wow.
Next year will be our 30th anniversary.
Wow. Yeah, Corey, the past president, his vision last year was that within 5 years we would be the biggest, largest aerial robotics club. Do you see that vision happening? Is it already sort of like the biggest in your mind?
I'm not going to say officially because I don't know what official counts are, but I do think we are the largest aviation technical club on campus. All the other teams, like we have our 2 divisions, which really helps us. We're basically working 2 projects simultaneously. All the other teams are very much one project, one at a time. But I definitely think just by numbers, we are the biggest aviation team on campus.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That was Corey's vision from last year. What is your vision like? What do you see doing and happening in the next 5 years that you really want to see PART accomplish?
Oh, God. In the next 5 years, I definitely want to see... us... I mean, this might just be my material science background coming into play, but I want to see us get smarter with our composites. Definitely start utilizing the different things that we have around campus a lot more. And then I also just want to see, I want to see growth, but sustainable growth. Not we're growing out of control. We don't know what to do with all of our members. Like how do we keep that knowledge retention going has been a big thing. And I want us to become more, I want to get more industry sponsors so that we're able to like continue to grow our name in companies that are often coming to Purdue so our members benefit from those industry relationships that we have.
Awesome. So what's been your favorite class, Isha, at Purdue, knowing that aero is one of the most challenging majors, and then what's your hardest or least favorite class?
Okay, so my favorite class, I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff we've taken. Personally, it might just be the aerodynamics class. I loved it, one, because Professor Canino, one of the nicest professors I've ever met, genuinely cares for his students and teaches it in such a fun and engaging way. Like, I don't think I've been engaged in a lecture more than I have been sitting in Professor Canino's class. Just because he makes it relatable and accessible in a very similar way to, like, like we were talking about earlier of if you can explain it to a 5-year-old. Oftentimes, that's what it felt like he was doing, was like, we are the 5-year-olds. How do you explain it in a way that is attainable? And then you can scale it up to those college-level concepts that we do eventually need to learn. And honestly, I can say my hardest and probably least favorite class was aero what is it? 390? That 339. That's what it is. 339 propulsion for non-prop majors.
Okay.
Is what is unofficially called. Obviously, not being a prop major, propulsion is cool. Blowing up stuff with purpose sounds like a great premise. I don't want to know the math behind it. I could not tell you. I could barely tell you. The basics of that class I know and I understand enough to get me through this degree. But there was just something about trying to memorize just like random tidbits about different engine types that I was just like, you got me.
Enough.
I'm gone.
Fair enough. 100%. Okay, so considering the work that you've had with large leadership roles, I'm assuming you've pulled all-nighters. You mentioned 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean 2 a.m., but 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So have you pulled like actual all-nighters? Because as a freshman, I have not yet. I'm not looking forward to it if, you know.
So it depends on what you consider an all-nighter. I know some people are like, if you've just stayed up through the entire night, that is an all-nighter. Some people consider, just, I got like 20 minutes of a nap somewhere in there, but like I basically stayed up all night as an all-nighter. Or if it's just straight 24 hours, no sleep, you wake up one morning, go through an entire day, stay up all night, and then go through another day again, and that's your all-nighter. I haven't done that one specifically. I've not done a full, 48 hours, basically, without sleeping. But I definitely have gotten very close. I mean, I think the latest I've been in Research Park, our lab space was probably about 6 a.m., and then I was up at, 10 a.m. the next day for classes, or homework, truly. I probably, at that point, just was like, my classes can wait. I need a little bit of sleep. But yeah, I think we've gotten very close, but I don't think I've officially pulled an all-nighter, and I try and avoid them because me without sleep is a person that you don't want to interact with, and I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm not going to go out into the world like that.
Definitely. No, I think so many people relate to you or listening. Low sleep is definitely a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
100%. Isha, what would be your favorite memory about PART that you'd want to share?
Ooh. There's so many good ones. Let's see. I think one of my favorite memories was we were at, what was it? We were at last year, it was me and a couple people of the leadership team. PSP put on this showcase right around IR to show off what we do, what all of the clubs do to industry sponsors. So a lot of people were around for IR, and it had taken a while for anyone to come through. We were all kind of just waiting there. So we got bored. And what do engineers do when they get bored? We start designing stuff. And so it was me and a couple people talking about how we could make a fully composite wing and coming up with these crazy mold ideas. And it was very much like we're just crazy drawing on a whiteboard. Sponsors still haven't come through. We look at the door. We're like, nah, they're not here yet. And then we go start designing again. And so I have often, especially with a couple people on this team, you end up just designing on accident. You talk about some of the crazy little just design. It's like, hey, but what if we did this? And what if we did this just in passing? And then it turns into an entire, I'm now distracted for 20 minutes. I was supposed to be somewhere else 20 minutes ago. But instead, we're out here designing, because even if you remove me from a technical role, you cannot remove the technical design from me, because I'll come up with stuff. It might not be good, but I will come up with it.
You need to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Right? Those little brainstorm ideas.
Yeah.
So could you share any funny moments in PART, whether it's late night or with your friends, or any funny stories you'd like to share?
There was a moment, I want to say it was my freshman year. No, it was my sophomore year.
Did you start PART in your freshman year?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for the last 4 years.
Wow.
So I that's why there's I'm trying to remember stuff my short-term memory is like horrid, and so I'm trying to remember stuff from like 4 years ago, and I'm just like, I don't actually remember much, probably because I was so sleep deprived doing stuff late at night. But there was a moment sophomore year where it was like our 6th day in the Armstrong computer lab trying to make renders for our PDR slides, and our systems lead at the time walks in, and he's doing something for a different class, and I was trying to show, it was like probably like, I want to call it like 2 a.m. at that point. It was right about before I was ready to go home. I was trying to make PDR slides to show like how a system was going to be like held together by a bolt in our tail, I believe. And we didn't have a good CAD of it. We didn't have a good way to visualize it, but I'm like, I know we need to show people how this is working. So then I'm sitting there with Google Shapes on like our Google Slides, and just with shapes making like a bolt and a sheet. And by the end of it, it looks pretty good. And our systems lead looks over like about halfway through. He's like, "Are you CADing with Google Shapes?" And I go, Yeah, I am. And you're going to see this at PDR tomorrow.
I bet.
And this is how it's going to be.
Right.
And he was just so impressed. And then that photo from like 2 a.m. that night gets sent to our leadership chat. And everyone in the morning is like, "Isha, why were you still awake? Why were you still doing this?" But hey, it was a good slide. I will stand by that slide.
I'm so like satisfied with the fact that our leaders can actually, have fun and laugh about these things, especially when we're still working. It's such a good thing to have humor in the workspace.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, our leadership team is constantly laughing. Like my leadership team will tell you that like I'm nothing if not keeping it 100% real. So I will say it as it is, and I will probably put a humoristic twist on it, because oftentimes so much of what we are doing is serious and very just like big thoughts that I'm just like, well, let's just get a laugh in here. I'm gonna say something dumb just for the sake of saying something dumb. But it truly like a lot of the team on PART are like we're just truly friends, and I mean R&D embodies that really well. Like they are truly a friend group outside of PART, and competition's getting there too. We have our little niche pockets when I was a lead, and then we continue to still just have our pockets of like, this is a friend group, and leadership, when you spend that much time together, you tend to become friends anyway.
Right, especially in those 5 a.m. moments.
Oh yes, 100%.
Thank you so much, Isha. This is a great first episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to be interviewing another team lead, and thank you so much, Isha.
Yeah, of course. It was a good time.
It was.